Hello, Jeff here from System Trader Success. What I want to talk about today is how to use a built-in tool that comes with your TradeStation installation to help you test different types of exits and trailing stops and profit targets. It'll probably save you a little coding time and also allow you to more quickly explore different stops and targets. What I have here for demonstration purposes is a simple trading system on the Euro futures market. We're looking at a daily chart of the EC. We have a 40 period moving average. And what we're going to do is simply buy when price crosses that moving average and then exit when price closes below that moving average. So it's a simple moving average type system and it only goes long. Just out of curiosity, this is what the equity curve of that looks like going back to 2003 through 2012. So what we want to do is test different stops. What a lot of people would do is bring up their easy language code, and this is it for the simple moving average. It's just those few lines of code. And what you could start coding in here are your exits. And well, that's one way to go. But here's a quick way to do this. Back at TradeStation, if you go under Insert Strategy, you'll find that there's a strategy underscore stops and targets. Alright, let's open this, and this gets inserted with our moving average strategy. Here's our moving average strategy, and here's our stops and targets. Let's open this up in easy language real quick in the easy language editor. And you can see this is a general purpose exit strategy, and this strategy is used to make available standard versions of all TradeStation's built-in stops and profit targets in one convenient group. And you can see here they are. What it makes available is setting profit targets, setting stop loss, break even, dollar trailing, set percent trailing, and exiting on the close. So if we go back, we have this inserted. Go to Strategies, Format. The first input determines if we're going to base our profit targets either per share or per position. So the first one is profit target. So for example, if you wanted to, let's try this with a $500 profit target. Let's say stop loss amount is 0 and no exit on the close, of course, because we want to hold for several days. So here you can see, well, in this area here, it hit the profit target. That looks awfully small. Let's try one with a profit target that's larger. You can go up in here and put $4,000. And there you go. So you have a profit target built in. What if you want to add a stop loss? Let's put a stop loss amount in here of. Load that on here, and you can see here's where we got hit with our stop loss. On the next trade, here's our profit target. What this allows us to quickly do is to add some different hard stops and trailing stops and even a profit target to our system without doing any coding. Going back to the inputs, you can also test a break-even amount. So this will be a dollar amount that will enable a break-even stop once that floor is hit. Let's see if we can put this one in here. Once we're up $1,000, we want to move to a break-even. So here's an example right here. I'll zoom in. Price crosses, we go long. Price goes beyond our floor amount, triggering a break-even stop to be placed, and then we're hit. So there's quite a few stops here that you can test. So this is a quick way to do this. What I've done is added onto this. So let's go to Insert Strategy. I've created, or I added to, the stops and targets one and created stops and targets advanced. So let's load this. I'm going to remove the old one, and let's take a quick look at the inputs. The inputs are going to be identical virtually for the first few. So share or position, we have our profit target, stop loss, break even, all the way through to percent trailing. What you will notice is I removed end of day exit. I handled that different by actually putting a specific time. But other than that, the first few inputs are identical to what TradeStation provides. So we're not going to go over that. But what you notice next is exit to test. Okay? And what this is going to enable one of the next 9 types of exits. Probably the best way to handle this is let's look at each of these 9 different stops individually and see what they do. Okay, first what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset these. We're not going to test a stop loss right now, and we're not going to test any of these others, which are all 0. Okay, so let's start with our first exit. 1. 1 is going to introduce a number of bars exit. Right now it has 10. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, you can see here in this example, after holding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, it actually closes at the open of the next bar, which makes sense. That's how it behaves. And you can see the exit has changed to N bar exit. So what you could do then is run this and then see how it's performed. Go back out. Let's move to test exit number 2. Number 2 is going to be simply a hard stop, but unlike our hard stop loss up here, this one's going to be based on a simple average true range calculation. We'll use a 10 period look back with a multiple of 1, because actually I don't think a 3 will work for this system. What would happen is our moving average cross would get us out. So let's just change that to a 1. And here you can see our stop loss is being hit as it's going to be falling below 1 ATR based on the average true range. Alright, that's one another addition. Okay, changing our input value to 3 will allow us to test a trailing ATR. So we're going to use the same ATR calculation. However, it's not going to be a fixed hard stop that's below your entry level. This one will advance as the market advances. Let's see. Let's change this to a 3. So we're going to use a 10 period look back on our ATR length. We're also going to use a multiple of 3. So what this is going to do is take the average true range over the past 10 days, compute that, multiply it by 3, and that will be our trailing stop. That's going to be adjusted off of the equity high. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, here's a good example. We go in along here. Our trailing stop is following up, and dollar trailing stop is hit. Here's another example. So that's our ATR trailer. Next, if we move, changing this to a 4 activates a very similar type ATR trailing stop. However, what we're actually going to do is take the square root of the ATR value. If you go to our website, you'll notice there's an article titled "What's Wrong with ATR Stops." This explains that a lot of times a regular ATR calculation becomes extremely volatile during when market conditions change, and it proposed using a square root version of the ATR calculation to help compress the range. So that's what this is, and if you want to go read more about this, I highly recommend reading this article. However, a lot of times, because we're taking the square root of the ATR, you're going to have to use a very large multiple. So you're going to have to play around with that number quite a bit. I'm just going to change this back. Let's take a look at, but that's pretty self-explanatory, the ATR trailing stops. A lot of people, most people, will be familiar with those. Alright, let's take a look at input number 5. Input number 5 is going to be in regards to our NT stop underscore N. This is our noise tolerant stop. This is the actual look back period. This is based on another article called A Noise Tolerant Money Management Stop, and you can go on our website and see this. I'll explain it. Basically what you're going to have is a linear regression type stop based on the X number of bars that you put in here. So we can activate this stop. We're going to look back 10 bars. See what this looks like, and there it is, I guess. So here's our noise tolerant money management stop. What's nice about this, you just put the number of bars back, and that's the only value. There's no optimization of anything else. Next input, we'll go to 6. 6 is simply using a simple moving average, and that would be this input, MA length. This is our length of the simple moving average. Right now we have a 10-period moving average, and what it's going to simply do is exit the trade when the price moves back below in the case of a long, or above in the case of a short. So maybe what I can do is put on that 10-period moving average. There we go. And you can see when price closed on this bar here, we exit on the open of the next bar. So there's our moving average exit, so you can test that out. Input number 7 has to do with a simple RSI calculation. And this input here is the RSI look-back period of 10. We'll turn that on. And there's our RSI-based exit. Very simple. Very familiar to many of you. Let's go to input number 8. Input number 8 has to deal with a specific day of the week. So we have here I, day of the week. Basically what you're going to have is a number between 1 and 5. 1 representing Monday and 5 Friday. So here let's have this exit on Friday by default. And we can see this trade actually opened and closed on the same day. So it's not necessarily a great example. Let's look at, here's one. Buy, and then we close on that day on Friday at the close of that bar. This actually will exit on the close of that bar for back testing purposes. Okay, let's look at our final input, which is 9. Put a 9 in here. 9, of course, is going to only be useful on an intraday system. What we would put in here is a specific time in military time, so let's say 11 o'clock in the morning Central Time. And we don't have an example for that because we're doing this on daily, but pretty self-explanatory, where you just exit based on the time of day. So that's only good for intraday. So there you have it. All right, that concludes this brief tutorial. I hope you find this strategy helpful. Again, it's the Stops and Targets Advanced, where I expand upon the built-in TradeStation strategy. This makes it a little more dynamic. I hope you find this useful. It should help you out in saving you some time and exploring various stops in an efficient manner. Again, this strategy should be used for back testing only. I have not tested it for live trading. I use it for back testing, and once I find a exit that I prefer, I actually then go ahead and hard code that in properly inside the trading system that I'm working on. So again, this is a back testing tool. I wouldn't recommend using it for live trading. If you're watching this on YouTube or some other location, the code for this strategy is available at systemtradersuccess.com. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time.